Alright guys, now let's continue. So yesterday we finished questions 27 to 30, right? But today we're gonna continue with the rest. Now 31, section E. What's the answer? Owen, what's the answer? 9, right? Okay, so the answer is 9, yeah? So for those of you who didn't have the answers yet, please write there. Okay, section E, 9. Okay, read that. Yeah, evidence that a certain approach can have more disadvantages than advantages. Okay, guys, before reading anything, just to make sure that you need to you understand the heading completely, right? So now, how do you understand this? By reading the heading, what do you expect to see, or what do you expect to read in that section? You have just repeated the same thing. Can you use your own words? Explain that in your own words. Make sure you understand completely. Don't use any words there. Just tell your friends. Make sure they can understand as well. So how do you understand this, guys? Anyone? Tell me. No one? If you don't understand the statement or the heading, how can you search for the answer? Avan, go. You don't understand. And how can you do it? Thiên Nga. Yeah, evidence that, when they say evidence that means in that section at least you must see some kind of examples or some things which can prove that point. Okay? Yeah, maybe there is some studies or some examples or whatever, I don't know. But at least you must see something. About what? To prove that a certain approach or a certain method or a certain way, okay, can have more disadvantages or drawbacks than advantages. Okay? So that means that in section E you expect to read or see something like, oh, okay, I will read something like a method, and in that method I can see they mention that method have more disadvantages than the advantages, and they give me some kind of examples or they prove that point. Okay? Now, tell me, where is that? Go on. Go on, go on. Yeah. So at least you have to read the whole thing, because if you stop before that, then maybe you won't see any examples or any evidence. So in paragraph 8, they say, what's more, recent studies show that order actually has diminishing returns. Order does increase productivity to a certain extent, but eventually the usefulness of the process of organization and the benefit it yields reduce until the point where any further increase in order reduces productivity. Do you understand up until here? Some argue that in a business, if the cost of formally structuring something outweighs the benefit of doing it, then that thing ought not to be formally structured. Instead, the resources involved can be better used elsewhere. Now, give me the kind of the evidence they mentioned here. What's that? And what kind of approach are they talking here? What is the approach that they're talking here?
No, listen again.
Evidence means recent studies. Well, that's not enough, because when we talk about evidence, that means any point, anything they prove that point, we call that evidence. Okay? Recent studies, that's just some words there. It's not enough. For example, give me some evidence. Like what? That if we do that more, then we have more disadvantages compared with advantages. What's that? Yeah. Can someone explain that clearly to me?
That is the end of part 4.
No one.
You now have 6 minutes.
Okay, let me explain. So when we talk about evidence, I mean, they must show some points to prove something. For example, order does increase productivity to a certain extent. Do you understand this? That means they say yes, they agree that order, if an organization, they have order, good order, then what? Order does increase productivity to a certain extent. Yes, it can help to increase productivity if you have order. Okay? But only to reach a certain point only. But eventually, the usefulness of the process of organization, the benefit it yields, reduces until the point where any further increase in order reduces productivity. That means that after they reach a certain point of order, if they keep doing that, or they keep increasing the level of order, it doesn't help at all. That means that in an organization, if you order, do you understand order? What does that mean? What does that mean? Cái chữ order đây các bạn hiểu nghĩa là gì ạ? Yes, trật tự, tức là giống sắp xếp trật tự ngăn nắp này kia vân kiểu, right? Okay, so here we said order. If an organization or a company, for example, they have a good order, that means, okay, they know here they need to put the tables here, or the desk there, the chairs there, or here they put like 5 people here, or 10 people there, or something like that. So that's the order. Okay, they put everything nice and clean. All right, they keep everything nice and clean and in the right shape. That's really good. At first, it will increase the productivity of the company. But then what? But that's all the order can do. If you come and you check every single day and you say, oh, here today, here in this team we have 3 people, I think we need to add 1 more, or I think we need to reduce 1 person or something like that. So, or we should not leave the chair here, we should put the chair over there. For example, like that. Any further increase in that order may not increase the productivity, and that may be a waste of doing that. So here at the end they say that instead, the resources involved can be better used elsewhere. So that means that instead of spending money on that order, you can spend that money or the resources or human power or whatever, choose something else, and that will be more helpful. Okay. Trời ơi, ngồi giải thích mà các bạn ngồi đơ ra hết luôn, không hiểu gì hết luôn hả? Cố gắng hiểu nha. Cố gắng search, các bạn có thể search thêm vô. Alright. Rồi giải thích mà tất cả ngồi như tượng là thấy nguy hiểm rồi đó. So that's the first thing, and the benefit it yields reduce until the point where any further increase in order reduces productivity. So that is, they have more disadvantages than advantages. So that's the first thing. And then some argue that in a business, if the cost of formally structuring something outweighs the benefit of doing it, that means if the cost outweighs the benefit, then what? Then that thing ought not to be formally structured. Then that means we should not put that in the right structure anymore. Instead, the resources, that means that all the money or power, human resources or whatever involved can be better used elsewhere. So we need to invest those things somewhere else, and that may bring more benefits compared with doing this, compared with keep working on ordering. So that's why here they say evidence that a certain approach, I mean here they are talking about order, can have more disadvantages than advantages. Okay. Rồi chút nữa bạn nào chưa có hiểu rõ nhiều từ vựng nữa, bạn có thể search ha. Okay. Or you can ask later. 32, section F. What's the answer? Okay, 7. So you can write 7 there first, guys. All right, read that.
How to achieve outcomes that are currently impossible.
Yeah, how to achieve outcomes that are currently impossible. Explain this. Thư, help her.
How to achieve the result that are now shouldn't get it.
Yes. Okay, how to achieve outcomes that are currently impossible. It means that how to achieve or receive the results that are now impossible. That means now it is impossible to do that one or to achieve the outcomes, that outcome. But they will show you the way how to do it, how to make it happen maybe in the near future or in the future. So that's what you expect to see or to read in that section, right? Now where is that?
In line number 1.
Okay.
In fact, research show that when innovating, the best approach is to create an environment devoid of structure and hierarchies and enable everyone involved to engage as one organic group.
Yeah? Is that all?
No. These environments can lead to new solutions that under conventionally structured environments feel with oscillating in terms of information flow, power, structure, rules, and routines could never be reached.
Alright, you have just read the whole section. Can you please explain? Because if you read everything, then how to achieve outcomes that are currently impossible. Now, tell me, what are the outcomes that are currently impossible? What are they?
This environment can lead to new solutions that under conventionally structured environments in terms of information flow, power, structures, rules, and routines we never reaches.
Yeah. Yeah, what does that mean?
That means
you can't just read everything and then say there is the answer, right? At least please explain. Okay, I know. I can read that as well. Now tell me why. What? For example, like let's say how to achieve the outcomes. How? Yeah, how can we do that? Don't read the whole thing again. Don't read everything again. Just tell me how.
They place an environment.
Yes. How? We need to create an environment. What kind of environment?
Devoid of structure and hierarchies and enable everyone to engage as one organic group.
Yeah, so that is the method, or we say the how, okay, just like in the movie The Adventures, they said, okay, the how. All right, so how, here is the way. Create an environment devoid of structure and hierarchy and enable everyone involved to engage as one organic group. So that is how. And then what? I need the next thing. How to achieve outcomes, yes, that are currently impossible. Now I want to see something like the outcomes that are currently impossible. What's that? What are the outcomes they are talking here?
new solutions.
Yes, the outcomes means new solutions in this case, because they say these environments can lead to new solutions that under conventionally structured environments filled with bottlenecks in terms of information flow, power structures, rules and routines would never be reached. So the outcomes, here they say outcomes that are currently impossible. That means that the solutions that would never be reached, that is currently impossible. But now by creating the new environments, now we can have the new solutions. Okay? These environments can lead to new solutions that under normal, under a conventional structured environment, I mean, if we just use the old environments, we can never get that new get those new solutions. But now with the new environments, we can do that. We can have it. Okay? All right. Now section G.
Number 4.
The answer is 33. The answer is 4, right? 4. You can type or you can write 4 there. All right, read that.
Organization that put a new approach into practice.
Organizations that put a new approach into practice. Okay, explain this.
Some companies put a new method into real life.
Kind of. Put into practice, what does that mean?
Impractical.
Yeah, what does that mean? Yeah, organizations that put a new approach into practice means some companies apply a new method, or they start using a new method. Okay? When they say that put a new approach into practice, that means they use it. They start using it. Alright? Now, where? The G, right? Okay, yeah, very simple, guys. Now you look at you read G and then you try to search for the kind of information like a company or some companies they are trying to use a new method. That's it. Where?
In the first paragraph.
Yeah.
In similar fashion, the former chairman of General Electric embraced this organization, putting forward the idea of the boundaryless organization. Again, it involves breaking down the barriers between different parts of a company and encouraging virtual collaboration and flexible working.
Not enough. Go on.
Google and a number of other tech companies have embraced, at least in part, this kind of flexible structures facilitated by technology and strong company values which glue people together.
Yeah. So that part, yes. But what kind of method here are they talking about? Because here I can see some companies, yeah, because they say what? Organizations or companies that put a new approach into practice. So they practice something new, right? Like in similar fashion, the former chairman of General Electric embraced this organization, putting forward the idea of the boundaryless organization. Again, it involves breaking down the barriers between different parts of a company and encouraging virtual collaboration and flexible working. Google and a number of other tech companies have embraced at least in part these kinds of flexible structures facilitated by technology and strong company values which glue people together. Yes, that's right. That means that they are applying that, right? They are applying something. Okay. Do you see anywhere in section G something like the new method? Because yeah, we see something about disorganization here. Yeah. Can we find anything else? Or is that all?
Compared to, for example, optical alarm, Danish manufacturer of hearing aid use what is called spaghetti structure in order to reduce their organization hierarchies. This involves scrapping from the job titles and giving staff huge amount of ownership over their own time and projects. This approach proved to be highly successful initially with clear improvement in worker productivity in all phases of the business.
Well, yeah, here just yes. For example, they give some kind of example like these companies. That's just another example. Just like the same as General Electric, and here we have Google, and here we have Articon, a large Danish manufacturer. So they just give some examples of some organizations here. So it's just kind of similar as the paragraph 3. Okay. Now I want to know exactly what is the new method here, because they say a new approach, right? What is that? Tell me the name exactly. What is the name of this new approach? What is that?
Putting mechanism in place to reduce structure.
No, that is the way they do it. That is the way they apply it in their companies. But that's not kind of the name of the new approach. What is the name of the new approach? How do you call it? What is that? What is that? Actually, I said that already. Disorganization. Okay. The first line. In recent times, companies have slowly started to embrace this disorganization. So that is the new approach. Okay. And whatever you read after that, it's just some kind of examples how some organizations are using that kind of approach. Disorganization. For Articon, they are using what is called a spaghetti structure, blah blah. And then the other one, like in General Electric, they say they use something like boundaryless organization, and Google and a number blah blah blah. Okay, they just give some examples of some organizations. All right. So the new approach they are talking here, that is disorganization. Got it? All right. H.
Number 8.
What? The answer is 8 as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. H8. Okay.
Neither.
Whoa. Yeah. You can write there. Yeah. 8. Okay. Read that aloud.
Neither approach guarantees continuous improvement.
Yeah. Neither approach guarantees continuous improvement. Please explain this.
I think no way to approach ensure the rapidly improve.
Yeah, kind of, but not exactly. Someone else, please. can you explain that? Huy?
I think this is no way that the organizations can increase their
Alright, someone else please. Come again?
Don't have any brush can promises to improve continually.
Yeah, kind of. When they say neither approach can do that, what does that mean? Neither approach. That means that you can read it, you can see some approaches there in that section, but none of them. Okay, they say neither of them. I mean, none of them could guarantee or could ensure continuous improvement. Okay, that means that they can that approach may be able to help with improvement maybe this year or this time, but not in the future. Okay, so neither approach guarantees continuous improvement. When we talk about continuous improvement, we are talking about the improvement kind of on forever. Okay, yeah, I mean you keep improving, but none of the approach can do that or can guarantee that. All right, where is it? Thư, go on.
Point number 2 from the bottom. This research also showed that we should continually question whether or not our existing assumptions work.
This research also shows that we should continually question whether or not our existing assumptions work. I don't think that's enough. Because here I see neither approach guarantees. So at least I must see some approaches here. What are they?
Jumping on this bandwagon.
So what?
A word warning to others thinking of jumping on this bandwagon. The evidence so far suggests this order, much like other, also seem to have this diminishing utility and can also have detrimental effects on performance if overused.
Yeah, not enough.
Like other, the shoulder should be embraced only so far as it is useful.
Yes. So a word of warning to others thinking of jumping onto this bandwagon. Yes. The evidence so far suggests this order, much like order, also seems to have diminishing utility. and can also have detrimental effects on performance if overused. Like order, this order should be embraced only so far as it is useful, but we should not fear it nor venerate one over the other. Right? This research also shows that we should continually question whether or not our existing assumptions work. Now, can you tell me about, because here you see neither approach. When we say neither approach, that means none of the approaches, right? Now tell me, what is the first approach in this case?
Jumping on this bandwagon.
No. You still don't understand. What is the first approach in this case? We need to have at least two approaches, right? Because they say neither approach. Then at least you have two approaches in this section. Now what is the first approach?
Disorder.
What?
Disorder.
Yeah, disorder, yes. That is the first one. What is the second one? Disorder, that is the first one. That is the first approach. What's the second one? Order, of course. Yeah? So disorder, that is the first approach, and order, that is the second one. And they say neither approach, I mean none of them, okay, guarantees continuous improvement. That means that none of them can be the perfect solution for everything. Okay? That means that yes, you can apply this approach, but only to a certain point. Okay? Don't overuse it. If you overuse it, then you may see some kind of detrimental effects. That means some negative effects. You see that, right? They say the evidence so far suggests disorder, much like order. I mean, disorder or order, they're just the same, similar in terms of what? Also seem to have diminishing utility, okay? And can also have detrimental effects on performance if overused. That means that if, for example, if you apply too much order to a certain point, at first it might be very helpful, but then after that, if you keep increasing the order level, then it doesn't help at all, or just increase the cost. Okay? The same case for disorder. Yes, disorder might be, at first it can help, but if it reaches a certain level, if you overuse it, then it can be very harmful. So that's why they say, like order, disorder should be embraced only so far as it is useful. Okay, you only embrace that to a certain point. Don't overuse it. But we should not fear it, nor overrate one over the other. That means that we should consider them kind of the same. We should not think, oh, this way, like order is much better than disorder, or disorder is much better than order. No, we don't think so. Okay? This research also shows that we should continually question whether or not our existing assumptions work. Okay? Just like in a house, for example, order, I mean, you keep everything in order, nice and clean, okay? And you think it's really great. But if you keep increasing the level of order, then it just wastes your time and energy and effort, but it doesn't help your house to be much better at all, okay? Just the same way as for disorder, yeah, sometimes a little bit messy is also okay, but if too much, then it will be very harmful. Got it? Yeah. All right, done. We still have what? Next one is true, false, not given, and also one word only, right? We'll do that later. Now, break time, guys.